Can't tell if we're dreaming now. We watch as the fire falls down. One thing playing on our minds. Time stops and we don't make a sound. You crave the love I gave, and we'll do it again. A cold night getting warmer now. The ground shakes as our love gets loud.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the Dew Arena Open Qualifier number 3, Glory 5, taking on Genesis. I'm CloudX, and with me is Vivek. We're watching a battle between two Southeast Asian teams for the chance to make it through to the Indian land. Glory 5 going to be on the Radiant. Disruptor and Darkseer are going to be their first two picks. Night Stalker, Venom, and Sven have been banned out, while Genesis have chosen to remove the Visage, the Coddle, as well as the Life Sealer, while picking up the Venge and the Sand King. Venge first pick with a Sand King alongside them. I think it's fairly versatile right now for Genesis. They've got the roaming support. They've got a potential offlaner in the Sand King as well. Haven't revealed too much of the draft just yet.
Yeah, the Sand King could go anywhere. I mean, this is something that EG like to do a lot. Pick up heroes that could pretty much fit 2 roles at the very least, sometimes even 3. And good amount of lockdown coming out, and Glorified, not too worried about the lockdown. They're going to pick up the Queen of Pain either way. Disruptor plus Darkseer, good team fight AoE, a lot of potential to team up, and Glorified did end up banning out the Bucks, so they didn't want the Queen of Pain to have a difficult matchup in the mid lane. If Genesis want to, they could pick up the TA. Gosh, this draft is progressing faster than I'm talking.
Oh yeah, they're just going at it with full force. You've got the Oracle Huskar coming out. We should have seen this coming with the Oracle pickup, but even if we did, we had no time to talk about it. You've got a Glorified Spirit Breaker along with that Quap coming out. So they've got some AoE, they've got some team fight control, but they have no real major responses to that Huskar, except for the pure damage from the Quap and the occasional bash from the Spirit Breaker. Now Glorified's going to need some hard hitters, some physical DPS that can deal with the Huskar in the late game stage, but you've always got to worry about that Oracle backing him up. Fifth and final ban here for Glorified. They're probably going to need to get rid of a middle laner, unless that's a mid Huskar.
Could ban out the TA. What else? What does well in the mid lane was the co-op. They banned out the Puck.
Yeah, you probably don't want to send the Quap versus the Huskar, because I think the Quap, I think the Huskar can deal with the Quap. I mean,
yeah,
after a certain point, of course. The first few levels, yeah, you're going to have the Oracle just sticking around the middle lane, helping out, but if the Huskar hits level 5 early, I don't think the Quap should be able to do that well. She should be able to farm, which shouldn't be too troublesome, but it's going to rely on the Spirit Breaker's rotations heavily. Anyway, you've got a Necroforce ban coming out, so no Necro shenanigans coming out this game from either side. And Genesis, their ban's going to be a one position that hits hard. I'm thinking a Life Sealer wouldn't be a terrible choice to ban out here. Oh, never mind, Life Sealer is already banned out.
5 seconds remaining.
What are we looking at to deal with the Huskar though?
I'd like to see a PA ban. Glory 5 could pick up the Phantom Assassin here for themselves.
Yeah, PA should be fine. What's the co-op? You're saying a mid PA?
No, I'm actually thinking a PA could be picked up by Glory 5 as their one.
Oh, my bad.
That's something that could deal with the Huskar.
Yeah, PA is nice. The physical damage is good.
Yeah, the evasion's not bad either. But then that again, that is a problem because the Oracle does deal with the PA quite well. I mean, giving that extra few seconds of life in the face of those crits is really troublesome, not to mention the fact that Oracle can simply disarm the PA up until she gets either a Mantis-style or a PKB.
Yeah, but the Oracle has to be really careful with his positioning when he's going to do that.
Yeah, that's definitely a cause for concern. But at the same time, Genesis does have a lot of lockdowns and between the Sand King as well as the Vengeful Spirit, so I do like their team fight control quite a bit here. Razor, going to be the final ban, by the way, so that's going to be their, well, that could have been a potential response to the Huskar that's now been taken away.
10 seconds remaining.
Wonder what Genesis goes as their last pick. I do want to see a safe lane Huskar here and then perhaps a Puck in the middle lane for the extra control.
Yeah, but Puck's banned out.
Is he? Oh yeah, Puck has been banned out. Invoker's still in the pool. I mean, they do need something to take down towers right now. I don't see any tower takedown potential on Genesis. Maybe a Dragon Knight fits the bill.
Venomancer? Oh, it's been banned out. Not the best, but
Radiant team pick.
Oh, it's gonna be the
Okay,
Batrider.
he's
Strange.
seeing a Batrider.
So
I
either
mean, teams from SC in the past have run mid Batrider. I've seen even teams from Europe do it.
I mean, it's
And
likely that it's a core Venge and a mid Huskar after all, and then you have an offlane Batrider.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, change name, change luck is the 4-position player. No, hold on. Ollie.
He's their 5, I think.
So we're looking at a co-Venge, a mid Huskar, and an offlane Batrider.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening here, and then Ollie's gonna be backing up the Huskar at the middle lane. So it should be a dual lane at mid of sorts with the Huskar and the Oracle, and then we'll have a dual lane at the safe lane with the Venge and the Sand King, which will put Batrider on the off lane.
So Fortune's End is going to be nice. It's going to take away the Shadow Strike. It's not going to be a fun time for Queen of Pain in the mid lane.
10 seconds remaining.
Spirit Breaker should have the highest impact possible at level 1, level 2. Because once the Husker and the Oracle get a couple of levels, there's not much he can do in terms of Harris. Or in the mid lane, there's not much he can do to enable the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, there's so much pressure on the Spirit Breaker to work this game, but he does have the opportunity to make it work for him. I mean, especially when he goes ganking without the Oracle in the vicinity, he can work wonders with that Darkseer Ion Shell. But if this is an Oracle that's going to be in the safe lane, he's going to add value. If it's an Oracle at mid, he's also going to add fair bit of value versus the Quap. It's such a great game to have an Oracle on your lineup, honestly, for Genesis. And it's surprising that the Huskar wasn't either picked or banned out.
Are you seeing connection failure returning to matchmaking?
Yeah, I think that's just a bug. Should go away once we load into the game. The most useless phase of the entire Dota game, the Team Tower Showdown.
Yeah, thank God they removed that from the international. It would have been silly to see how much players put into the game just so that they could get themselves money by winning TI.
True that. It's essentially their investment into themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much sense in calling out these names because some of these names can't even be pronounced. But you know, we can take a look at who's heading where. As the Huskar does seem to be going towards the. Wow,
Yeah, I think he's
running an aggressive tri lane here.
I mean, Double Crucifix or whatever his name is on the Huskar, he does play mid for them.
Okay, so maybe it is a mid Huskar after all. He started off with the Windlace though, not a very traditional build for a middle laner, so I'm a little confused by that. But yeah, it will give him that little bit of mobility advantage versus the Quap to stay away from those Shadow Strikes and maybe even get a couple of hits in. But I mean, even with the Windlace, the Quap has more movement speed.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Batrider's items, he's probably heading towards the safe lane. He's got 8 tangos, and Sand King's heading to the off lane. He started out with the Stout Shield. So yeah, it does seem to be a mid Huskar. Unusual starting items like you mentioned, but he just wants that extra movement speed to be able to trade effectively, if at all.
Seems so. He does have
I
a
don't like
terrible
this.
amount of damage at the start though. That's going to hurt him in a one-on-one matchup. But yeah, smoke coming out. They're going to contest this. They're going to go all the way around. No smokes dispelled just yet. Huskar smoke gets dispelled by wooing, but he's only spotted one. He hasn't spotted the rest that are looping around. And Ollie is going to start off with Fortune's End. They're going to slow down or rather root up that Disruptor. This will be first blood. And it's going to be given over to the Sand King. There'll be early boots in the lane for him.
I'm not a fan of the last pick PL. I do see that to some extent there's no easy way to deal with the PL for the side of Genesis. But I also think that PL doesn't deal too well with the Huskar as the game goes late. You're sort of hoping to take out the rest of the team and then kite it on the Huskar and murder him with a spoon pretty much.
Yeah, that's very aptly put indeed. But what does work out for this Darkseer is that it's not going to be the Oracle that's in his lane, so he can drop those Iron Shells time and again and, you know, give the Batrider a hard time under his own tower. But this is going to be one of those you farm, I farm kind of lanes where if the lane starts pushing in way too much, the Batrider just commits a Firefly and gets himself some creeps. They're switching things up. Darkseer's moving bottom while at mid there's a freaking tri lane with a Co-op Disruptor and the Spirit Breaker.
Not sure why the switch? I mean,
It makes sense. Phantom Lance is really good versus the Batrider in a one-on-one. The Doppelganger does get rid of the sticky napalm stacks, so it's essentially free magic stick charges. There's no way the Batrider can actually kill this Phantom Lancer unless he makes a big mistake. Meanwhile, middle lane, Huskar just looking to zone out the Quap from his own lane, starting off with his Burning Spears to do some work. He does have the 1 point in the Berserker's blood as well, so the attack speed is going to start working in his favor. Very peaceful start, but as I say that, on the top side, Batrider commits with the Firefly and starts pushing the creep wave in, even doing a fair bit of damage on both the heroes in the lane up against him. And while the Radiant creep wave was pulled to the side camps, the Batrider is there to take some creeps off of it as well. I guess the Centaur is going to be totally worth it for him.
mid lane though. Spirit Breaker. He's found the Vengeful Spirit in the trees. I think she's gonna escape, but not really. Blank's got the blink. 2 points in Shadow Strike. The charge is there for good measure. Fortune's End gonna actually end up keeping him alive. And now Husker comes in with the Burning Spears. The cow's being roasted and he's being pushed to run away. The Kinetic Field is gonna trap them both, force them to fight, but Husker, he doesn't mind fighting. And right now the Radiant, they have no choice but to back off, but Blank jumps in, finds the Vengeful Spirit, brings her down, and dice the score 1-1.
Really awkward path to take for the Vengeful Spirit, going towards the river rune instead of just walking back up onto a slope. And it does get punished. Blank gets himself that kill, and his Queen of Pain is fairly comfortable now, except for the fact that she's got only 3 last hits, while that Huskar has himself 9. Ollie gonna purge up that Shadow Strike, and Blank immediately sent packing under his tower. Bottom lane, with the charge coming out, they will clip the Sand King, but he's made himself away. He's even got the point into the Caustic Finale, which is working well versus the doubts here. So far, so good for Genesis. They're winning this middle lane quite convincingly, I must say.
Both the Batrider and the Sand King aren't doing too bad in terms of CS either. So the lanes have gotten up to a decent start for Genesis. And yeah, they're applying a lot of pressure early on the Queen of Pain. I mean, there's not much a Spirit Breaker can do. The ideal outcome is to catch the Oracle out of position like they're trying to do right now. But can they bring him down? He hasn't got the Fate's Edict. He's got the Purifying Flames. Can turn around on the Blank. Blank dropping low will be brought down. The Husker gets the kill and the Spirit Breaker gets nothing. And once again, he's being chased away. No life break just yet. Otherwise, Husker would have committed even further. But he's going to do some serious damage.
You've got another Fortune's End online, but Spirit Breaker's got his boots, so he's going to get on out of there. Now Blank is coming back in. You don't want to go back in to fight this. That Huskar is really strong at this point as well. Wooing, he's going to go down before he can DP out. Another Spirit Breaker comes back in for another bout. Huskar, the lower he gets on HP, the harder and faster he starts hitting. Now Baby's probably going to end up dying, but so too will the Huskar. Perhaps he's going to salve up, going to get himself a little bit of HP to work with. Blank going to take a beating, but will get the kill nonetheless. Huskar's still happy with that, man. He's got himself 2 kills.
Gets the kill on the Husker, but the Oracle was denied. So all they effectively lost was just the Husker in that engagement.
Ooh, that's
and
nasty.
It's 4 minutes in. Already Genesis are getting carried away and still coming out on top to some extent.
Batrider meanwhile has himself just magic wands and boots, but he's getting some backup from the Venger. If they force out the Doppelganger early, they could just Firefly and stun up and kill this Phantom. So, oh, there's the Firefly. Rather, the Doppelganger committed. The magic missile did clip him, and now he's going to have to TP out of there. He managed to deal an economic blow, while on the bottom lane, Quap's rotation finds a kill on the Sand King.
Yeah, I got that. I mean, Spirit Breaker with the charge from afar. And Blank did manage to cut across the river. Easy kills. Interesting note, I mean, the Sand King is gone for face boots early on.
Okay, that's interesting. Not every day you get to see this happening. He's also got himself a Ring of Regen, so I assume it's going to be the Soul Ring that's going to be built up on him next. It's not terrible actually. He does hit fairly hard now with that with his face boots, and has the mobility to get in position for these burrow strikes. In fact, he's done a lot of damage on Blank, who's more than likely going to tick down to the Caustic, but he's going to bottle up to stay alive. Wow, that's painful to watch. Meanwhile, at mid, Husker just asserting his dominance, lifting his leg and whizzing all over this tower, making sure that the Darkseer can't come forward. Top lane though, see ya. Gonna be Zoned out under his own tower again. All the stick charges in the world won't help him versus the harass that this Batrider is dishing out on him.
Yeah, Genesis is pretty much stomping all lanes at this point. Even the Sand King a little ahead of the Queen of Pain in terms of net worth. And Glorify, they're trying hard to shuffle across these lanes, but they're not getting too much done.
Spirit Breaker in a world of trouble. He actually committed with an offensive charge here. He's gonna go down to the Sand King solo, while Sand King's just gonna get forced away by this Queen of Pain. Got a Burrow Strike, jumps to the low ground, tries to make it through the trees, using the fog to get himself to safety. While on the top lane, another skirmish has broken out. The Batrider on the receiving end of these goals, but pops his wand, charges, gets glimpsed back. They aren't gonna get any kills here just yet, but he's got a Lancer walking back into the Firefly, who decides against it.
Okay, someone's at my door. I'm just gonna be back in a minute.
So much blood being spilled this game. You've got a smoke now being popped. They don't want to let off the pedal here with Ollie and the Sand King moving up to the shrine, where they've even placed down an offensive observer ward preemptively. Meanwhile, on the other side of the jungle, the Batrider finally falls, and the Venge is probably going to meet her maker as well, with the Phantom Lancer giving chase, jumping forward with the Doppelganger, getting himself a double kill, thus salvaging the lane for Team Glorify. Meanwhile, the smoke rotation at mid doesn't quite find anything here. But the Darkseer is coming back in for another bout, and the Oracle is in position to make something happen. They've even got the Sand King coming in from behind. They're just going all in here. But unfortunately, they found nobody. Ring around the rosy. Running away, running towards the middle lane once again. Roth 4000 just gonna walk straight back into the loving arms and will end up forfeiting his life here. Maybe not actually. He's gonna surge away and get the hell out towards the north side. But the caustic as well as the burning spears, the damage over time is too much. He gets taken apart. You've got a life break, you've got an armlet. This Huskar is ready to go. They don't have a way to cancel the TP, but they don't even need to. He cancels it himself and ends up getting taken down. Huskar with the double kill. While on the top lane, they're going in on Sia once again. They've got the Burrow Strike to do some work. They've got the last one to hold him in position, and the Magic Missile to seal the deal. While they're now moving forward, the Caustic Finale slow has been applied. Wooing, trying to use that glimpse, gets the glimpse. The Burrow doesn't quite tick him. While the Venge still continues to run forward with his boots. She's gonna get that stun off, has that Magic Missile, fires away. The Burrow Strike secures the kill. Genesis just unloading their entire arsenal to get themselves some kills, while the Spirit Breaker was looking to go for the Batrider. Batrider's made himself scarce. The Sand King may not be as fortunate, but he does Burrow Strike to the low ground, keeping himself alive a little bit longer. However, the Surge Spirit Breaker comes his way. The Fortune's End, defensive as well as offensive, ends up keeping him alive a little longer, but he does end up going down. Now Ollie's being chased with the Nether Strike available. No Nether Strike available, I'm sorry. You've got the Huskar coming in with the life break, beating up on Roth. He's going to take down to the damage over time. He gets the kill, the Huskar, who's got the armlet and needs to toggle, but ends up dropping as he tries to toggle. I believe it was the Arbor Venom that got that kill, but the charge continues. He's gone into the shrine. What a terrible idea here from Baby. They do not have the lasso, but they do have the sticky napalm charges to slow him down, and they should get this kill quite comfortably. These teams,
I mean, this is where fight recap takes a real stress test, because you're pretty much recapping the past 5 minutes of this game. It's one prolonged fight and it's just getting longer. They've got the Phantom Lancer farming in the neutrals. He does manage to doppelganger to the low ground. Purifying Flame's going to take away some of that HP. He's got a couple of stick charges. Will he use them? And Batrider is not going to commit any further.
Yeah, the Purifying Flames actually worked in his favor there. Uh-oh, they have a glimpse if they want to pull back this Venge into the Fortune's End. Keeping him alive for now. They pulled him back into a kinetic kill, and they should get this kill on the Venge. While the Spirit Breaker's looking for more on the top side. Gone up onto that Ollie Oracle. Ollie's gonna be okay. We'll take a Spirit Glance on the retreat. Maybe.
Mid lane. Life break. He's going to TP out of there. Roth 4000. He's going to end up taking in his own fountain, while Spirit Breaker comes in with the charge.
That's a Spirit Breaker if he stays.
Low on HP, the life break is still available.
Oh.
Blank jumps in with the scream. Life break onto the Spirit Breaker. He's manning up. He's armlet toggling, but he will end up going down with the Disruptor chipping in. He will take the Queen of Pain along with him though. And now Disruptor in a spot of trouble. He's got the kinetic field. He's buying himself a little bit of time, but the sticky napalm is adding up the turn rate massively slowed down at this point. And along with the lasso, they end up securing the kill on the disruptor. All he's just going to Fate's Edict, Purifying Flames and TP out of there. Well, the Bat Rider tries to fly over a cliff, but he's stuck out of luck. Tries to charge, one happened to. And Sia runs in aggressively. He's out of mana. Out of HP as well. This should be a kill. It's painful, it's slow, but they're going to get it anyways. Vengeful Spirit also trying to walk in and might get punished for this. Disruptor tags up with the Thunder Strike. They've got the glimpse as well into the kinetic field. She's surrounded by 4 heroes from the side of the Radiant, and Huskar's not even going to bother.
It's a double kill coming out for Sia on his Phantom Lancer. Again, kills going in favor of Glory 5 that really shouldn't be going their way. But it's also strange that you got a first item BOT on the Bat Rider as opposed to going for the Blink Dagger. That's just really greedy coming out from him.
Yeah, can't say I agree with this.
Huskar. He's just gone all in here. Beats the hell out of Roth 4000, forces him back, but Oracle's at his back, but it's not a level 6 Oracle, and I don't know how much value he's really going to add here. Huskar did end up getting that kill nonetheless. Now he's turning around, trying to fight versus Phantom Lancer and his illusions. False promise upon himself. All he keeps himself alive for the time being. While the Huskar, he's trying to take down whoever he can on the backline. Sia will indeed end up going down, while the Glimpse does not really do too much to stop this Huskar's onslaught. He just took a dominating streak off of Phantom Lancer and is coming back in for more. He's just literally 1v5ing them at this point.
Yeah, Huskar's creating a lot of space. The question is, what are the other two cores going to do with the space? I mean, that Sonic Wave, it did do a fair amount of damage, and finally Huskar taken down. That
was stupid. I mean, he didn't even armlet up. He didn't put the regen on himself. He didn't get an opportunity to pop those Warn charges after. Just got controlled and taken down easily. I mean, the Huskar is only invulnerable when the Oracle is in the vicinity. Ollie was nowhere near him. In fact, I don't even think Ollie's steeping towards him. He's steeping bottom. Or is he? He's going to the tier 2. I think he just wants to take that bounty rune before he moves into the lane. Got a disconnect coming out. It is the Phantom Lancer that's on the sidelines for a bit. While he may be dead, his teammates do have the courtesy to pause for him, of course. But I think the Bat Rider has realized he's made a mistake here, and he's gone up there to start farming again.
Yeah, this is going to slow down the game a little bit for Genesis. I mean, if he picked up the Blink, they could move from objective to objective, pick off to pick off. But now they have to wait for his Blink, while the Sun King started off with a Hood. And has a Radiance queued up. Okay. It's a right-click heavy Sun King. Is that a thing? I don't know. Yeah, this Huskar, he's getting out of control, and once he picks up something like a BKB, somewhere down the line after the Dragon Lance, after maybe the Halberd, I really don't see any answers on the side of Glorified for this Huskar.
Yep, that Huskar pick has really thrown a wrench into their plans, and unfortunately they haven't been able to pick to deal with it. The last pick, Phantom Lancer, was an attempt at just that. You have illusions and, well, you make it harder for the Huskar to target just one. But they do have some AoE damage coming out with the Sand King as well as the Bat Rider, so the illusions won't be too much of a struggle, at least up until they're supremely tanky. And that's in the ultra late game phase. I'd say that if this game goes on for too long, yes, they do have a fighting chance on the side of Glory 5, but given the way this game is progressing and given how much both teams are willing to fight, it feels like the Huskar is just going to steamroll them.
I mean, I've seen a lot of SC at Dota, and it's usually characterized by a lot of early game aggression. But it's a lot more planned, controlled, and thought out than this game. This game, I mean, you're just seeing the two teams have a go at each other. Everybody's left their lanes, running past tier 1s and tier 2s and whatnot. It is early game aggression, but it's without a plan. Let's just fight and see what happens. That seems to be the motto.
I want you to take a look at the Sand King's items, by the way. Look at what he's queued up and what he's picked up.
Oh yeah, I told you he's queued up a Radiance. It's a right-click Sand King. If that's the thing.
I don't even know what's going on anymore, but it's fun to watch, no doubt.
Yeah.
Hood into Radiance into Blink Dagger is third item. That seems so clowny, but who knows, man? It could work versus the Phantom Lance and his illusions.
I mean, yeah, anyways. I'm not even going to chip in with my attempt to analyze that.
Oh, suddenly you've got bad mouth happening. How
going
long
on?
can you wait? If you can't wait, tell me. 3 minutes or 2 minutes, okay. Wow, okay. Someone's got triggered that easily. I wonder if these two teams are rivals that play each other often.
Possible. Isn't
Wait, what? Ah, okay. Whew. Thought they were gonna play 4v5. That would have been disheartening.
Isn't Boom ID the team that falls into this bracket and often scrims at this level? I mean, I haven't heard too much of Glorify, but I'm sure Genesis and Boom ID do scrim a lot from what I've been told.
I mean, I have no information about that, man. Anyway,
I mean, they're both Malaysian, so
Boom
both
ID
these
is
squads-
Indonesian, man.
No, I mean Glorify as well as Genesis are both Malaysian.
Okay, yeah, I guess they know each other on some level at least, but... Ollie, he's moving towards the middle lane now. What's he gone for? He's playing the 6th position right now with just Sentry War and boots.
Top lane, Batrider with the BOT, he's trying to cut across, blank. He's got an arcane rune, but he's not had any luck working in his favor, and he's been lassoed, he's been brought down. Batrider does get glimpsed back into the static storm, but there's no follow-up damage just yet, and in fact it's Ollie and the crew coming from the backlines, looping around, catching the disruptor and bringing him down.
Nice stuff coming out from the Huskar there. He actually walked forward, tanked up some of the tower damage while under the static storm, which allowed the Batrider to survive all of that.
And they're going to get a tier 1 on the back of that.
2 kills, a tier 1 on the other side. Sand King continues to farm towards his Radiance Lul. Top lane looks like they're gonna get another tier 2 tower, or maybe try and make another play. This Queen of Pain just feels so helpless right now.
Yeah.
One stun and she's done. In the last fight, the Batrider and his BOT really worked well. He just ran past the Queen of Pain while she blinked, hit her with a flame break, caught her with a lasso, and pulled her into a trail of fire.
Yeah, and she's queued up a really ambitious item, which I don't think is going to have enough impact even if it does come soon. Bottom lane though, the Charles the Sand King, he's got Sandstorm, he can wait it out here, and he's going to buy his side a little bit of time to take down the top tier 2. Yep, and indeed Huskar, along with the Oracle in the bench, is going to take a tier 2 rather easily. Darkseer trying to soak up some farm in EXP in the mid lane, just has a soldering and a headdress.
Oh, you what? No. So there was this moment on top where Huskar got glimpsed back under the tier 2 tower, and instead of turning and trying to run, he just turned straight at the disruptor and started running at him. He hit a kinetic field, but that was, you know, one of those you what mate kind of moments where he just ran at the disruptor to try to score a kill on him. But here's the lasso, gonna bring down an unsuspecting Wrath Darkseer and eventually transition into another objectives. 15
Bottom lane,
minutes in.
Sand King dueling out versus 2 heroes. That's the epicenter, has the caustic, and now the Spirit Breaker has to run. 2
That
heroes
was-
jump onto the Sand King and can't bring him down.
Epicenter, Caustic Finale too strong to deal with. Lancer
And
goes
that
down
was after the Phantom Lancer. So, okay, hold on, bottom lane, they've got a glimpse though. It's only the Vengeful Spirit, they're going to get what they can at this point. And Huskar, he's just taking down tower after tower.
Yeah, he's okay with being on low HP here, especially when the Oracle is in the vicinity. Bottom lane though, they've got a Static Storm connected here, and it should be the Batrider that ends up losing his life. They're just throwing bodies at this bottom lane one by one. I'm really not sure what's going on or why they're doing this on the side of Genesis, but I guess they're just severely underestimating their opponents.
Mid
I'm
lane,
getting punished for it.
dropped a wall on the Huskar. I mean, they're
Don't do
going to
this,
try.
guys. Don't do this, guys. There's an Oracle just behind him. Oracle getting taken apart by the co-op, but the Force Promise is there. Huskar, he's gonna annihilate all of them in their faces as Blank is gonna blink away once. The armlet toggles are still there. Sia in trouble, ends up getting burned to a crisp, but ends up getting the kill nonetheless. It's a double kill for both the Lancer as well as the Huskar, and now a Glimpse is gonna pull the Venge further back. And all in all, it seems like it actually worked out for Glory 5.
Yeah, that was a little silly. I mean, all Genesis had to do was wait for the Sand King to join them. The Sand King made a base trip. He wasn't pushing a lane. He wasn't there in that engagement. He had just picked up his blink tag, and all they had to do was wait for the Sand King to join. But Genesis got carried away, and that tends to happen when you're a Husker with a good start.
Yeah, that's a smart move from the co-op to jump behind and go for the Oracle instead of just trying to focus that Husker.
I agree. I mean, this is one of the biggest problems when you're playing the Oracle. I mean, if there's something like a Storm Spirit or a Queen of Pain on the enemy side, and they just end up jumping you, then you're forced to false promise yourself, and you end up dying without doing too much. Mobility heroes are an absolute nuisance to play against if you're an Oracle, because no matter where you position yourself, there's nothing you can do to escape them.
Well, for now, Batrider with his Blink Dagger at the ready, heading towards Blank's Queen of Pain, who's running to the sides, Blinks to the right side, and then you've got a Blink coming after her. The movement speed advantage is in favor of the Batrider, but the Blink cooldown advantage lies in Quap's favor.
Middle lane, the Husker out of position. The Disruptor drops the tag, so I'm not going to do too much. Oracle getting glimpsed back, Husker manning up. He's trying to bring down the Spirit Breaker, but he's got no support. He gets bashed, he's going to get brought down, but he's armlet toggling. He gets the kill on the Spirit Breaker. Finally, Batrider comes in with a little bit of support, but it's too late. Disruptor's taking down the Husker. Meanwhile, Sand King and Wench making a run for it. They've lost the Oracle. They do manage to control the co-op a little while longer, but here comes Sia with the Diffuser Blade, ensuring that they have the control and they get the kill on the bench on the Oracle and the Husker. That's a huge win for Glorify.
Absolutely, they managed to find themselves a 1500 gold change with 3 kills for the price of 1. The Husker dying again was a fairly large blow, because that means you've got a good 600 gold changing hands just off of that 1 kill, but his killer has now been taken down as the Batrider claims revenge.
Yeah, they met at the top rune and the Batrider just did his thing, ran him down. Did have a haste rune to work with as well.
That's a pretty farm Batrider. He's got himself a 4-star near complete now. There's 2 components away, and
it's a little problematic that the Sand King isn't hanging around with this team. He's queuing up that Radiance and going mad with greed here. But Genesis, they're going to play it. They're going to play it right. They're going to play it discipline. They're going to move into the Rosh pit. Do Glorify contest though. Got the static storm.
Evasion coming out on the Husker as well with that halberd, so this is quite a problem to deal with. I mean, the Spirit Breaker's bashes are no longer reliable on him, and even if you have the wall illusions beating up on the Husker, it just may not be enough at this point. Let alone killing him twice, which is next to impossible. They've got the Orchid on the Quap that should keep Ollie at bay if they jump upon him with the silence. Maybe that's an opportunity to bring down the Husker, but what do you do the second time around? How's the Phantom Lancer looking? Just the Diffuser Blade for now. He's actually queued up a Shadow Blade. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I think all of them are prioritizing taking out the Oracle. That pretty much seems to be the plan. Get everything you can.
Actually, I think it's going to be a Silver Edge for the Husker. You disable his passive and then hit him with spells. That could work. Oh, they got the roots off. They do have a Magic Missile as well, but they don't have another Burrow Strike to follow it up.
Oh, Vacuum Wall, it's got Husker, it's got the Oracle as well. There's no follow-up, just here the Kinetic Field being dropped. He's holding on to the Static Farm. Sonic Wave unloaded onto the Husker, Purifying Flames.
I think that actually killed him.
Yeah, I think that actually killed him, honestly, but that's the just taken away. I wasn't sure whether that killed him, and now they're going to go up high ground. Walls being committed, Sonic Wave as well. But it seems as if Genesis are backing out.
No, I don't. Actually, Purifying Flames couldn't have killed him. It's magic damage though.
No, it reduces your HP if you don't drop Fate's Edict. So I think
it's magic damage, so he's got magic resistance on low HP, so technically it shouldn't have killed him. Something or it got him low enough to be killed essentially.
Yeah, it got him low enough to be killed. Purifying Flames followed up by the Sonic Wave ensured that he ends up dying. And that is a level 2 Sonic Wave. That was silly.
Well, Husker. Actually, you know what? He could have been killed by the Purifying Resistance, because I'm just reading over the tooltip of Berserker's Blood and I completely forgot that the max magic resistance he can get is 50%, so it's likely that he died from it. But yeah, it's just tower after tower that they're gonna go for here. Meanwhile, at mid, the lasso is there, but the vacuum pulls him back. The epicenter comes out, but the Burrow Strike whips! Oh man, a symphony of fails indeed, and Sia will take down the Batrider gladly on the back of that. No, he won't. He's gonna go back up onto the high ground. Nobody ends up dying, while the tower ends up dropping. That changes as the Darkseer loses his life to the Venge. What are these clowny fights happening all over the map?
Yeah, and Huskar's pushing down mid. Sia's trying to do his best to slow him down. He's only got the Oracle to back him up though, so if Glorified do decide to engage, it could be in their favor. The bash at the right time, they're controlling the Husker. Quap's gone on the back line, trying to bring down the Oracle. Oracle taken out of the equation, no false promise. The Borrow Strike will miss on the Quap. The Magic Missile will end up missing as well. Blank jumps onto the high ground, they're taking down the Husker as well as the Oracle. And now Genesis have to retreat in a rather hasty fashion. I mean, Venge is being chased down. Blank, they're doing the ring around the rosy here.
He's a Juka. Change name, change luck is out of there. He doesn't have a TP though, so he's gonna have to time this perfectly. Quap, he's been spotted.
They could turn around now.
Yeah, they spotted him now. But they don't have vision for the charge. Now they
The
do.
Disruptor's got the Sand Kick. However, they got the Venge instead. They left the Sand Kick. This should be a kill. TP rotations are coming in. Oracle, not sure if he can get the fall promise off. Yes, gets it on the bench. I mean, I don't think that's going to be enough. Just going to buy him some time. And Sand Kings ditch the Venge altogether.
They're just mucking about, man.
Dire's middle tower.
I mean, this is one of the strangest games I've ever seen.
Take a look at the warding, by the way. They've got a deep observer ward on the dire side, placed down on the Radiant Cliff on the bottom lane. And they've got vision all over this middle lane as well, so it's in their best interest to fight there. But the smoke is going to walk straight past. They're going to walk up to the Huskar and silence him, hit him with a Sonic Wave. No Oracle to back him up this time around. And looks like he's just going to armlet toggle and man up once again. Armlet toggles twice, keeps going at it, jumps with the life break towards the Quap, brings down the Quap, and ends up losing his life finally. While behind, they got the kill enough. They ended up trading Huskar for the Quap while the Epicenter ripped straight through. They get the kill on the Disruptor. The charge comes out once again. The Burrow Strike onto the Illusions. It ends up being a 2-for-2 trade, but Sia once more. He's chasing forward. He went for the Aghanim Scepter instead of the Shadow Blade. So he's just got a whole army of Illusions backing him up at every step of the way.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, so the Axe is a little bit of bounce on the Spirit Lance, and you've got more illusions to work with. Sort of helps you farm quicker. I think he's also got it at a reasonably good timing. He's queued up the Halberd. That's going to be nice versus the Husker. Slowly but surely, Glorifier getting the items they need to deal with the Husker. And it's a lockdown from the Batrider, and the Sand King is not enabling the Husker in these team fights. Genesis could be facing a real issue here. I guess the right thing for them to do is wait out Roshan number 2. But it seems as they're grouping up around this bottom lane. They've got the Axe Scepter now complete on the Sand King. They've got that deep ward, and they see the Disruptor, who's come to war all by himself. And yeah, they've got a long range Borrow Strike with that Axe Scepter. Easy kill. Batrider picks up the goal. He's still got the lasso.
Yeah, very patient from the Batrider. He decided not to commit with the lasso there. And they get that kill as a freebie. Now you can go in with the lasso to take this fight. You've also got vision on the slope, so if someone tries to defend preemptively, the battle jump him immediately. And with no disruptor to cancel that lasso kidnap, this could be terrible, especially if they catch the Lancer. Could this be the beginning of the end is the question here. You've got an attempted rat play coming out from Blank on this top lane. He will get himself a tier 2 tower at the very least. The bat, he jumped in preemptively. The vacuum was there along the wall. They've got an illusion coming out, but the epicenter is being channeled as he's walking into the illusions. All they're gonna do is clear up illusions with all of that, but Huskar goes in. Big static storm on the backlines. The Sonic Wave comes in and they get the Huskar kill after all. It's a 1-for-2 trade thus far. Just the Darkseer down on the side of the Radiant. They're gonna keep chasing as the Sand King will go down next. Double kill for Roth. They're going forward. They've gotten 4. Even the Vengeance are hitting the deck, and now they're chasing forward onto the back. Who's gonna try and TP out and should not be too successful because you've got the glimpse to cancel that out. It'll be a 5-man wipe in favor of Glory 5 as Genesis just made a mess of things.
Yeah, silly stuff coming out. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't you rather land more impactful Burrow Strikes than getting an epicenter that doesn't do anything?
Absolutely, and I mean more than that, I think the Batrider is going to be really hitting himself in the face for not going while the Disruptor was there. He whiffed on the lasso entirely, and that just led
I
to the
mean,
House
he
of Cards.
jumped in, but the Phantom Lancer did get the Doppelganger off, and then Batrider had no one to lasso, and just end up going down. Husker by himself in the mid lane. There's not much he can do. Yeah, this is going to take down the tier 2 when disengaged, but Sand King though, he sees blank, he's got the Power Strike. Not sure if this is going to be enough lockdown to secure a kill on the Quap.
Yeah, it's not. I'll just send the clock packing, but she's got a good 4.7k gold in her bank account, while the Lancer's going towards a halberd of his own. What a truly amazing item to have versus that Huskar. But again, you've got to worry about the Oracle.
I mean, they're not too worried about the Oracle. They just pretty much control him, jump him down. Ideally, you're sort of hoping that the Sand King and the Huskar keep the Oracle alive to some extent. I mean, somebody is looking out for the Oracle in these team fights.
We finally got the BKB queued up for the Huskar, so that's probably going to be the play here. To wait for the BKB and then try and move forward, maybe with the next Aegis as well. Radiant scans are going to tag a couple of heroes, so the Crop is going to be able to back away immediately after this wave. The Batrider is still at the bottom lane, so no real fear of being caught out that easily.
Quite tough here in the mid game, but it's good to know that Qualifier have swung the net worth back into their favor. The past couple of engagements they've been able to deal with the Husk, and that's definitely going to give them a sense of confidence and a sense of momentum.
Meanwhile,
What does Quap go for? Okay, she's gone for the Lincolns.
it's clearly, you know, let's slow down and farm a little bit. That's the playstyle coming out here from Genesis. I mean, they've got their BKB finished up on the Batrider now, which makes him a real threat. No real way to cancel him unless you're going to commit a Nether Strike to stop him in his tracks, and even that might be too slow. And how far is the Huskar from his own BKB? Just about 800 gold to go. Yeah, this does seem like the smarter thing to do, just to wait for those BKBs and then move in with 2 10-second ones. And suddenly that halberd pickup on the Lancer doesn't seem too useful after all.
Yeah, they've got more than enough to deal with the Huskar right now.
Do they? I mean, a BKB Huskar, they have nothing to deal with them. I mean, think about it. All he's really got to do is BKB, walk up and commit on either the Disruptor or the Spirit Breaker. If he commits on one of those, his backup comes in and stops the Darkseer Surge. That's it. The fight's over. Aegis online, BKB in his backpack. Bing's coming out here, wooing. Gonna be able to get away after planting that one Observer Ward. That's gonna be some valuable intel going their way into this next fight. But is it enough is the question.
Did they just smoke under Radiant Ward? Yeah. That smoke got spotted out.
It's just the Oracle that needs to be under cover of the smoke, to be honest. As long as they don't see him at the start of the fight, he can keep that Huskar going. Rat Dota ensues though. Blank will do some damage on this top lane, or rather the bottom lane, where he's pushing out and getting a tier 2 tower taken down, but his home is in jeopardy. Here's the charge, there's the glimpse. They've got the Venge coming into the fray. They don't want to commit with the Oracle saves and just the Venge, but the vacuum pulls back one. We've got the Huskar with the Aegis still ready to fight. He's not going to pop the BKB. In fact, it's in his stash. He's waiting for the Aegis to be taken away first, but he doesn't even care. He's just continuing to fight his way through all of this. The evasion helping him survive along with the false promise. They get the kill on the Darkseer first, and finally the Huskar drops. He has the cheese, he has the Aegis, drops, or rather he has the BKB, he switches it up, puts the BKB back in his items, can turn around and pop the BKB now, has it online, doesn't press it just yet, still holding on to it, Batrider with his own BKB, the cheese consumed and the BKB pop, not yet though, Huskar saving it till the very last second. Oh man, that is just the most efficient use of his items as possible, as it ends up being a complete whitewash here coming out from Genesis.
Yeah,
he held on to that cheese, he held on to that BKB for ages, man, and finally gets the kills.
It was a bunch of things that went in Genesis and their favor altogether. Hold on though, because Asuka this time around, Sia is there with the halberd, Sand King with the power strike. They're going to possibly try and commit for this Asuka, but they don't really need to because they held on to high ground. But Blank goes in anyway. He's not got the Sonic Wave. He needs to be careful. He's got a Lincoln Spear that's going to make sure he avoids a couple of stuns. But Genesis, well, they beat a hasty retreat and just going to run towards the shrine. But yeah, in addition to the wonderful item usage coming out from the Asuka, Ollie did manage to get the falls from himself. And Sand King was there with a couple of butter strikes, which bought Asuka a fair bit of time. Even then, it's seeming to be quite an uphill task for Genesis to win these team fights. They needed Aegis, they needed Cheese, they needed a fresh 10-second BKB along with the false promise to somehow finally bring down the Phantom Lancer.
Smoke movement though. They are going in Glory 5. They tag the Sand King. So he got that sandstorm for a bit, but he's going to get glimpsed. Nether struck, everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him. With the Batrider coming forward, looking for a lasso target. Sees Sia, who's just coming in with an army of illusions, spamming them all over the place. There's the lasso. He's going to pull one away. In fact, he got the real Phantom Lancer in the middle of all of that and pulled him straight towards the Huskar, who's going to chew him up for dinner. Or maybe not. The Quap has something to say about it. The Lincoln Sphere gets triggered with the life break, but is it enough to survive? Perhaps it is as she blinks towards the south. Meanwhile, the epicenter onto 2 done perfectly, and with the Radiance Burn, they'll end up getting the kill on Wooing. While Roth has been slowed down, Sand King is back for another bout. The Radiance Burn gives him a triple. And this might just be all she wrote for Glory 5. The creep wave isn't there though.
I mean, it's Sand King with the Radiance and a gold per minute talent. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
Farming like a beast, waves are being cleared. Good stuff coming out from the Batrider in the previous engagement. And now high ground is a possibility. 50 seconds with no Phantom Lancer, no Sonic Wave, no Static Storm.
And no fortification either.
It's going to be a tier 3 at the very least, maybe even a lane of Brax. There's no point in the Darkseer buying back. Blank is going to try and keep the bottom lane pushed out as much as possible. Batrider has the lasso, Sand King has some mana to work with, he's got a Perseverance as well picked up.
Yeah, and the Oracle is back as well. Long range Burrow Strike, he's gonna miss this time around. The Vacuum not tagging him either. Space was created and we're gonna get a tier 3 once again with that. Here comes Ollie, giving the heals over to that Huskar who's just beating through those barracks. There was a smoke coming out, but the Batrider is ready. He goes in, they trigger with the Lincolns. It was just a Lincoln's trigger from the lasso. But there's the charge commitment, Power Strike right on the backlines. He's holding them in position and keeping them at bay. The Lancer not coming right into the fray just yet, while Huskar is chasing onto the Quap who's gone in deep and ends up losing her life. I think they know it's over. It looks like they're losing hope in these fights. While they're buying back, it's not really amounting to much. There's 3 down on the side of the Radiant already, and Sia can't really fight through all of this by himself. Huskar still being kept alive as he jumps forward, beats up on the Lancer, forces the GG out, and takes the game for Genesis.
Beautiful stuff coming out from Genesis. It was that one clutch fight where all of them work as a unit, and from there on they went to take objectives. Unfortunate that the lasso was wasted on just triggering the Lincoln Sphere, but it seemed as if the Huskar had become an unstoppable force by that point, and Glorify had no real answers to him. Game 2 though, can Glorify somehow recover from this defeat?
Yep, well, hope you guys have had a blast. It's been an absolute bloodbath with a total of 36 to 42 scoreline in 35 minutes. That's an absurd number of kills and deaths in this match. We've had fun casting this. I'm CloudX with Vivek. We'll see you guys later. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're ending our dry spell here, Vivek and I, at the Dew Arena Qualifier number 3 finale. It's Genesis taking on Glory 5 in a best of 3. Genesis going to be on the Radiant side, Glory 5 going to be on the Dire, and you've got a Necrophos coming out into the battlefield here. Vivek, this is something that's considered auto-win in my pub games.
In my pub games as well, as long as I'm not playing him. But the question is, they first pick the Necrophos, which is going to give Glorify the opportunity to pick up something like an AA. AA Venge +1 was a solid try lane back in the day, because you got Chilling Touch and you got a lot of physical damage. We're seeing his second pick, Ricky, as well, which I haven't seen Genesis run. I mean, I've quite closely looked at the Dota buffs, but that's not to say that they won't pick it up. Venge plus Shadow Fiend, good amount of pushing, possible Clockwork ban, there it is.
So what
Makes
I like
sense.
about, so a little bit about both these lineups, I like the Ricky pick from Genesis because it means that if Glory 5 picks up an Ancient Apparition on the 5 position, AA basically has to stay in the lanes and leech EXP from his core. You can't walk out casually as an AA looking to plant walls, looking to take bounty runes, because the Ricky will be there to punish you. And with the Knob of Venom and the backstab, I think Ricky is more than enough to take down the Ancient Apparition in the early stages of the game. On the other side though, Glory 5 are just going in with the physical deeps, getting the Venge for the aura and the armor reduction, great synergy with the Shadow Fiend who hits like a freaking truck and also has armor reduction in the mid game stage. It's like, for now the game plans seem fairly straightforward from both sides. We'll have to wait and see what they try to pivot to, because you know, Shadow Fiend and physical DPS in general don't work too well versus the Necrophos and his Ghost Shroud.
Yeah. This could also be one of those games where somewhere down the line the Shadow Fiend might have to consider a Diffusal Blade, unless they pick up another core who's going to head in that direction. Obviously with his itemization, we're seeing a Nature's Prophet as well as a Drow being banned out. Genesis just covering the backs here with the Drow ban. Do not want to be going up versus a Shadow Fiend augmented by the Drow aura.
10 seconds.
They can still pick the Viper if they want to on the side of Genesis. I mean, this is without a doubt the only patch which has had so much play of the Viper. A hero I haven't seen across any of the patches in Dota 2. And I mean, counter picking the mid lane is just so become a thing now. Next pick for Genesis.
You know, I don't know if Viper is actually the best way to deal with the Shadow Fiend though. I mean, like we talked about, right? Shadow Fiend's got fair bit of physical DPS, and with the Shadow Raises, he's definitely going to get some CS in the face of that Viper. After, I'd say, level 3 and maybe a few souls, the Shadow Fiend can trade hits with the Viper, especially if he controls the high ground and controls the runes efficiently.
Yeah, I mean it's all going to boil down to the opening 3 minutes. Who denies the range creep, who pushes the other out of the lane, who gets the more advantageous block. I mean that's either way going to come into play when you're going up against the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane. It's going to be crucial for him to get those starting souls and that good start. But yeah, Genesis have time to respond to this pick coming out in the mid lane. That is the Shadow Fiend. 5 positions, a lot of options. You've got what have you got? What would be nice here? The band.
You mean on the side of Glory 5?
Dire team
On the side of Genesis, Glorify. Oh yeah, they go with the twin-headed dragon.
Yeah, the Jakiro is not a bad choice at all. I mean, it's the one thing that Genesis is lacking right now is reliable lockdown, however, because the Riki doesn't really have a stun. Jakiro's got a stun with the Ice Path, not exactly reliable. Perhaps Glory 5 sees this as an opportunity to pick up something like a Weaver, maybe, because I'm thinking a core with the Linkens and mobility is great here versus the Necrophos. But at the same time, Ricky's not too bad versus the Weaver. But yeah, I think the game plan for Glory 5 should be to pick up mobile cores and kite around Genesis in the mid-game fights. What's interesting though is that both teams are not Indian teams, so despite them participating in the Dew Arena India qualifiers, it's pretty much a given that we're going to have at least one team coming into the LAN that's not going to be an Indian team.
Yeah. How many non-Indian teams are there? I mean, you got Genesis, Glorify, we've got Entity to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Entity is no longer an Indian team though.
Yeah. I mean, Swifty just falls into the team under the minority quota. That's it. It's an Indian organization. And next pick, Glorify, looking for a 4-position hero. You got Slaughter, the Corrosive Haze would be even nice. if you're looking to augment the Shadow Fiend's damage. What else?
I mean, you could always pick up the Dazzle and just go straight up minus armor here on the side of Glory 5.
Yeah. But then you sort of have a Venge to make those early game rotations.
Yeah, which is fine, I think.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that works actually, even if it is a mid Necrophos. Wow, what?
Jesus.
He talks about the Viper on the other side, but they're going to pick it up themselves. So, is this like a safe lane Viper?
Not a fan.
Or an off lane Viper? Again, not a fan there either. I mean, an off lane Viper could work though.
10 seconds.
I mean, it could, but the question is, you could just put Shadow Fiend on the safe lane and babysit the Shadow Fiend and pick something else for the mid lane. Instead of just picking what counters your Shadow Fiend in the mid lane. It doesn't make sense, right? You're picking up a Viper just so that the opponent doesn't end up getting it. Instead, you could just lane your Shadow Fiend in a more defensive manner. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Offlane Viper, he should be fine versus the twin-headed dragon.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it could work. Offlane Viper versus THD is not terrible. You've got the corrosive skin to reduce your magic damage that you actually take. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm actually getting spammed by invites despite going into offline mode. So there's an absolute idiot.
Same here.
Chewing my brain.
I'm gonna blame Azzy.
Yeah, but yeah, back to the game. You know, the corrosive skin's not too bad versus the Jakiro. Every time he comes and spits a liquid fire on you, he's probably gonna end up taking more damage from the corrosive skin himself. And if the Ricky comes on you, I don't think the Ricky really stands much of a chance. I mean, yeah, he's gonna be able to slow down the Viper a little bit. He's gonna be able to do some damage, but Ricky's gonna walk away with a beating of his own. Let's see what they've got on the side of Genesis as their fourth pick. It is gonna be the Axe pickup coming out for them on the fourth pick, and yeah, now we're looking at an off-lane Axe, a possible mid-Necrophos, which means Genesis are looking for their one position. Alternatively, they run this as a core Necrophos and pick themselves up a good mid.
3 seconds remain back.
Okay, then looks like all the birdies have been picked here. Visage is... he's been banned out, so he gets no love. Wings Gaming it is.
Is Puck a bird?
Puck's a dragon, but I guess he counts. It counts.
Is Batrider a bird? I mean, Glorify could pick it up.
Bats are not birds. Bats are overgrown rats with wings, man. They're mammals.
Okay.
Anyway, we've got a troll ban coming out as the final ban. I just don't see this troll ban though. I mean, what's the synergy with the troll ban in the face of a lineup that's got no physical DPS? I don't see where the troll would have fit in on the side of Genesis.
I don't
to be
see
honest.
it either, honestly.
Now, Glory 5, they've got one stun and then they've just got like a bunch of slows and nuke damage coming in. This is also a lineup that doesn't have too much synergy. If anything, I'd say Genesis has absolved their weakness now by picking up that Axe. Or rather, resolved their weakness by picking up that Axe. They've got that AoE call to do some lockdown. They've got the Jakiro to synergize with it. And Glory 5 is still not going to pick up another stun. They're going to go with the Lich as their final pick.
Yep. I absolutely dislike the draft coming up from Glory 5. Sorry, I have a very strong opinion about this draft. I mean, Lich got nerfed. Small but significant. That his Chain Frost is no more a mini stun. So we're looking at the Magic Missile and the Swap coming out from the bench. And maybe the Egg landing on top of a bunch of people. That's about it.
You may now select your hero.
That's all the lockdown that Glory 5 have.
Yeah,
What does this lineup excel at? That's the question.
It's just left me scratching my head. Genesis rounds out their draft with an Ursa pick, something that's really good versus both the Phoenix as well as the Viper. Physical deeps versus the Viper, always great to have, and of course versus the Phoenix when you have the overpower to smack away on his egg. Not a bad choice either. But I guess that's where the Lich adds some value with the Frost Armor. Physical damage resistance is always nice versus him. Yeah, but I'm in agreement with you. I think Genesis has the better draft here. I really don't see what Glory 5's lineup is built to do. And it's not like they're going to have really strong mid or late game phase either. Their early game is going to suffer because you're going to have a Ricky running around the map. You're going to have an Axe that's... he's going to be a little contested in that off lane, but he could always go into the jungle and not be bothered. There's no one to follow him into the jungle here.
Yeah. At best, I see Glorify sort of contesting lanes to some extent. The mid game is going to be awful. I mean, the Lich and the Venge can just apply a little bit of pressure along with the Phoenix. Viper should be fine depending on which lane he heads into. Presuming this is a 3-position Phoenix?
Yeah, I would probably assume this is a 3-position Phoenix as well. Maybe it's a. I mean, yeah, that means we are looking at a core Venge, though, right?
I think Venge and Lich are the two supports, 3-position Phoenix, and 2 on Viper, 1 on Shadow Fiend.
Oh yeah, right. If it's a 3-position Phoenix, of course it can't be a core Venge. Yeah, makes sense. Alrighty then, we're gonna get back. We're gonna jump right into this game. We have on the Dire side, Team Glory 5, Baby KH gonna be handling the Venge. We've got Phoenix in the hands of Roth 4000. Viper's gonna be played by Sia. Gonna have Shadow Fiend played by Blank, and that puts Wooing XD on the Lich.
For the side of Genesis, we've got Change Name, Change Luck playing the THC. We've got 2 Crucifixes playing the Necrophores, Ricky being played by Ollie, that's a name I recognize. We've got Axe being, I've given up.
Yeah, there's a name 77. We can at least call Ursa 77. I don't know what.
Ursa 77.
Unfortunately, I can't read that script or whatever it is. I think it's Chinese. Okay, I shouldn't be doing that, man. I have no idea what it is. Either way, I think we're in agreement that Genesis has the better draft this game.
Yeah.
Let's see if Glory 5 can prove us wrong. They are running a safe lane Viper, by the way. So he's started off with his Wraith Band and 4 Tangos. You're right, it is going to be a 3-position Phoenix by the looks of it. But Lich, meanwhile, he's playing 7-position. He's got like 2 Tangos and a Sentry Ward on himself.
Yeah.
Ballsy move coming out from the Jakiro and that Ursa, by the way, moving into the jungle. Trying to steal that bounty rune. It's going to be 3 bounty runes going over to... No, never mind. 2 and 2 apiece. Like 1 bounty is going to take a while to be picked
Ricky
up.
attempted to steal the Vipers, but no such luck, and now he's going to hang around the mid lane hoping to get a courier snipe. This could be huge. Shadow Fiend with his bottles delayed, his consumables delayed, no salve on the way either. If Ricky does manage to get the courier snipe, it could give Necrophos a great start in lane.
Yeah, I don't think he's aiming for it at all. This is actually one of the lanes that can deal with the Necrophos. You essentially have nuke damage to beat him up when he's in Ghost Shroud, and you've got the damage advantage to outlast him in the lane. There's the problem that Riki is going to be coming in time and again, though, that puts Shadow Fiend on the defensive. However, he's managed to get himself 2 denies, which is not a terrible way to start this game.
Not at all. Good start. He's got a decent amount of damage to work with. He's also got that sentry, so he should be fine. Axe is altogether ditched the lane. Just started out in the jungle. Iron Talon Tangos. And not even bothering.
I mean, we talked about this. There's absolutely no one that can go chasing him in the jungle. You have a Venge running after him at level 1. That's really not threatening at all. Mid, they've actually dived past. They're going in on Blank, and Blank is taking a beating from Ollie's Ricky. He's still a level 1 Shadow Fiend though, and that's a level 2 Necrophos that does have the Death Pulse available. You're gonna get a fair bit of damage done. This is how you zone out a Shadow Fiend at level 1. His tower is taking some damage as well now.
I got that.
Oh man, that was
Bad micro coming out from the Necro. Now he's gonna get punished. Venge is there with the stun. Not sure they have enough damage. No Frost Blast on the Lich. It's a duel in the river. Phoenix swoops in. The Fire Spit is doing a little bit of work. And First Blood going the way of Blanks. That's a whole lot of souls. And a little bit more EXP to work with in lane. Good start here for Glory 5.
Meanwhile, Ricky looks like he's gonna snipe that courier. His awareness was on point. So he's kind of got a recovery for his teammates. Getting the courier kill in exchange for giving up the Necrophos, his first blood. And now if they manage to zone out the Shadow Fiend and blow through his salve, his bottle's going to take a long time to get there. So that could help Necrophos recover in this lane. It's still... I wouldn't say it's the best start coming out from the Radiant side. They definitely shouldn't have given up that kill over to Blank. But at the same time, it's not terrible. Ricky's kind of salvaged the situation. And they've got the Sentry Ward. Both are going to lose their sentries, which still works in favor of the Ricky.
And not too bad, this mid lane. It's interesting how much effort Genesis is putting into contesting this. And they did end up losing the Necrophos, but they are finding a way back.
Not though. Bottom. The tri lane, the aggressive tri lane has been zoned out by a Jakiro and an Ursa. They actually tried to dive the Jakiro under his tower, but with a lineup that's not really built to dive, that's a terrible idea. But Viper seems to be doing really well. He's at 19 and 11, just no one in his lane to deal with. Axe is just ditched like you said, but he's been farming quite well himself. He's up to level 3 now. He's 1 level behind that Viper. But he's got that Iron Talent to accelerate his farm. He's also creep skipping. And while Viper may be really good in a one-on-one matchup versus the Axe, he's not so good at dealing with creeps under his tower. Especially when you start off with just a Wraith Band and have no real armor or Stout Shield to work with. So no Stout Shield on a range though, that doesn't really make too much sense. But yeah, armor would have been nice.
On the Viper?
Yeah. I guess his Ring of Aquila is going to take a while to get there, but... Radiant Couriers respawn. Did they actually lose their courier as well? Oh yeah, they did, sorry. They lost it in the jungle.
They did. When the Necrophos ended up dying.
Yeah, in the river.
The question is, you're a safe lane core. You've got this wonderful start on the Viper. I'm going to come back to that because Axe is out of position. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the twin-headed dragon ends up falling, and Axe being kited, being punished, being brought down. Both goes on the side of Glorify, scoring valuable kills early on.
Mid, meanwhile, we've got Sharafin and Necrophos continuing to duke it out. Necrophos getting the better out of those beatings there. It's 12 and 12 on the SF, but 22 and 8 on the Necrophos. Sharafin does have souls to work with, but he's still not having a gala time here.
Mid lane though, Necrophos out of position, magic missile, a couple of raises, Ghost Shroud, magic wand, and he runs into the river.
Yeah, he's gonna be okay for now. That's the power of a Necrophos, man. The Ghost Shroud, magic wand, and Death Pulse just makes him unkillable. Yeah. What is Ollie doing? He's actually taking a beating from the... Wow. Okay then. I mean, the draft may be in favor of Genesis, but clearly the plays are not. What the hell was that?
I have no idea.
I think he tried to tank the aggro with his illusions, but that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, that didn't work out. A little bit of missed micro there coming out from him.
Anyway,
bottom lane.
You've got the Venge in a little bit of trouble. He's been slowed down by the Orb of Venom. The Ursa did come in for the clap. They don't really need it, but they'll use it anyway to get the kill on the Venge. That's actually the first kill for Genesis, and it goes over to the Ursa, which does help his case quite a bit.
It's honestly a bit surprising, right? They've got the better lane, so to speak. And now Ollie's going to be punished. He reveals his position. They've got detection. Slowing him down with the dash. THD trying to ensure that the Ricky has a target to blink back on.
Yeah, that works in their favor.
Question is, Viper gets such a good start. How would you itemize on the Viper to stay relevant this game?
Yeah, I think he's doing the right thing. You know, he's going for the 4-staff, which helps versus the Riki to a certain extent. But I'd probably figure you go for the Dragonlance first, get a bonus damage, and just start getting active around the map.
Do you think a Midas would help this game? With the kind of start you had?
Midas is not bad on the Viper because, well, after a point he just stops farming altogether.
Yeah.
So either you put your eggs into the Midas basket and hope to be relevant in the early game stage, or you get the Dragonlance and start being super active. And right now they're gonna go on the Axe. Axe does get the call, but the stun stops him in his tracks. He's just not respecting the Vengeance rotations here, and he's being punished for it time and again.
This is silly. I mean, this is the second time Axe has ended up falling like this. He tries to skip the creep wave aggressively, and with such an overfarmed Viper, it's too easy a kill for Glorifier to not end up picking.
He had the right idea though. He had a TP stroll on him, so he could get out if the Viper came at him by himself. But he's got to know that the Venge is helping out his buddy.
Yeah, he has no vision of where the Venge is.
Oh, that's a Reaper scythe kill on the Shadow Fiend. They looped all the way around and got that kill on him. Ollie, he was trying to be a nuisance there. He was trying to help out his teammate, but Necrophos says, hold my beer, and gets the kill by himself. That's just not the way the Shadow Fiend wants to play this game. He was just heading back to base like a good little boy, going back to regen, playing it safe, and Necrophos walks all the way around. Who the hell expects that? Anyway, Lich moving towards mid, but Ollie's gonna spot him out. They've also seen the Observer Ward being dropped, so let's see a quick D-Ward coming out. But now you've got the Ursa coming in. They do have the TP on the Lich, but it really doesn't help in the face of an Ursa. He's got his phase boost to close the gap, and now they're moving mid as well. They had that ward to watch this happening. They even know that the Ursa's in the vicinity, but Blank is still here. He's gonna get run at by the Ursa. You've got a TP coming out to help him out. In fact, they're moving towards the Ursa themselves. Blank not going to get tagged by that Earth Shock. Instead, it's going to be a bit of a cat and mouse game happening at the mid, but again on the top side, the Venge and the Viper strike on the Axe and score the kill. His Blink Tagger is a pipe dream for now.
He's making decent progress actually. He was near 1,000 gold.
Uh-oh, Wrath. Okay, he's got the fire spirit, so he does manage to slow down the Ricky. But Ricky is going to try and TP himself out. Should be able to get out of there. Venge is literally the only stun they have, and if he's not around, they can all just TP away to safety.
Good awareness coming out from Genesis, realizing, like you mentioned, that Glorifier have no real lockdown at this point in the game. I presume Phoenix would be looking for an 8 hours maybe somewhere down the line, but that still doesn't cancel TPs.
Well, no fortification used for that top tower either. There was just a strange way to give up your tower. Viper stuck around for a bit longer than he needed to and might just end up losing his life now because of it, but he'll take one along with him as the axe gets the dunk. It's still worth it for Genesis. They get themselves 400 extra gold on the axe and a free lane to farm for a while. That's the thing about axe though. It's really dangerous to give him a lane to farm because he's almost guaranteed every single creep wave. He's possibly the most efficient farmer that there is in this stage of the game. Clears out the creep wave, goes to the jungle, continues farming, and farms more than anyone else on the map. Necrophos in trouble here. He's gonna have a TP coming towards him. In fact, 2 TPs coming out. The Viper's a bit slow. They've got the TP scroll available on Necrophos, but here comes the Ricky to help his buddy out. The Ghost Shot was there. The HP back up to full, and then the Reaper's scythe kill, giving him the regen he needs to walk the hell away. And now with their only stun dead, he can just bait a couple of spells and TP the hell out again. And while that was happening, they even got a kill on the bottom lane, Phoenix.
Yep,
So,
on the Phoenix. Good stuff coming out from Genesis. They are a bit behind the Viper in terms of net worth, but they are catching up and they are pressuring towers across the map. Mid lane, Blank, he's trying his best with these raises. I mean, what?
so Necrophos just... I think he was waiting for the Death Pulse to come off cooldown before he'd pop a Ghost Shot and then pop another Death Pulse. But
Yeah,
he just underestimated the hits coming out from that SF. He's got his souls online, so he does hit very hard. That's going to be the death of the Jakiro as well. 2 Shadow Raises. Blank will get himself yet another kill, and that was under the effects of the Arcane Rune, I believe. Meanwhile, Ursa, he's actually being kited quite hard here by the Phoenix. In fact, Phoenix is going for the solo kill on this Ursa. Ursa is just being pincer trapped here. He's sandwiched between a rock and a hard place, but he's still making a run for it. The Phoenix, he dives forward, pops the supernova as well. Ice Path drop, catches no one. They even get the kill on the Ursa with the magic missile. Well, Baby walks forward, hoping to get that Phoenix egg stun off on the Jakiro, but it's one dragon after another. And it should be the Jakiro that goes down here. Unfortunate lag coming out. But yeah, I don't see the Jakiro surviving this.
all Genesis had to do is wait a bit for Axe to get his blink, which is almost done, but they lost a quick 3 kills in about a couple of minutes. They lost the Ulsa, they lost the Necrophos, and I think they're going to end up losing the twin-headed dragon more than once.
Yeah, but at the same time at mid, I think we might see a death on the Shadow Fiend. Ollie's wrapping in from behind. I don't think he's been spotted. Yeah, the sentry ward is too far out. So he's going to be able to loop around on this SF, who's just being really greedy and walking up the cliff here instead of moving into the jungle. He's even holding on to 2,000 gold. I can't for the life of me figure out why he's doing this.
Good 1,000 gold from that 2,000 being unreliable. So, Blank giving away his life for no real reason here. Needs to be careful.
Yeah, but I just don't get what he's doing here. You probably want to start building your components unless he's doing something like a first item blink dagger, which makes no sense to me.
They've got 15 seconds to work with. I mean, 15 seconds until Reaper's side comes off cooldown. Even then, though, they could pressure Blank.
Well, back at mid, Blank. He's still got that arcane rune. Yeah, I think that's why he's being greedy like this. He wants to get as many shadow raises off under the effects of that rune before he backs away. He should pay for this with his life. Meanwhile, Viper and his 4 stuff just sitting up top and pressuring that tier 2 tower.
Yeah,
he's getting some damage done.
Taking down the tier 1. Good start.
Alright, we're going to look for him.
Glorifier.
But the chase going on. The magic damage will take him down. Meanwhile, that mid Shadow Fiend getting run down here by the Riki. The slows are there. The ghost shot. Pop is going under the tower. They have a death pulse. No, they don't. Actually, the Viper TP is going to help offer some cover fire. And Riki's actually running straight into a sentry ward, but they're not giving chase.
Ricky trying to enter the lane again.
Oh,
This
the
time the
scan saw
Vengeful
him.
Spirit has detection. Okay.
The scan saw him. He thought he'd dust up. Blink on the axe, revealed in style. The swap is there to bail out his buddy. The smoke screen just not catching the Vengeful Spirit in either. Nice spots there. They have a Reaper's side, but that's where the first staff adds some value. See ya. Does exactly that as he moves back away.
Radiant's bottom tower
That's the blink reveal on the axe, which wasn't exactly successful.
Dire's middle tower
But they're still looking for more here. They're going to TP to the shrine and get some regen going before coming back to defend this mid tower.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, Necrophos even ditches the mid lane, goes off to the safe lane, sensing that his team doesn't want to hang around and probably engage in battle this early on. Do you think this is one of those games? Okay, he's gone for the Dragon Lance, probably going into the Hurricane Pike.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. I don't see why else you pick up a 4-star first. By the way, you've got the movement in the jungle. Ursa walking up. He has his own blink dagger coming back off cooldown in a bit. There's the jump away from the Phoenix. The trail of fire cancelling out the Ursa's blink. He's going in the wrong direction. Won't quite see him there. Well, Ollie's providing some vision actually. They're trying to bail on this fight because the Ursa's out there by himself. In fact, he's going back in. Roth pops the supernova egg, but Ursa just turned and ran. What? I don't even know what's going on anymore. I mean, he's still got the blink ready if he wants to go back in. His blink is now going to get cancelled. He can't quite TP out in their face. Has another blink, barely gets the hell out of there. And it looks like Baby doesn't have a wave of terror to spot him out. What's going on in this game?
Really looking out of sorts here. I mean, Axe getting picked off by the Shadow Fiend and the Lich. And honestly, you couldn't have asked for a better start on the Shadow Fiend. He didn't have the best time in lane, but he's leapfrogged ahead of the Necrophos in terms of net worth. And he's done some serious catch-up. Glorified, they've had I mean, considering the draft, they've had the best start they could ask for. The question is, what do they do with the start?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely put themselves in a better position than we expected them to be in, so they have a shot here. I think this is one of those games where someone or the other is going to have to build lockdown items like a Yules or an Atos. But let's hold that thought because you've got the call coming out, but the jump away was there. He's still taunted as he comes right back. The Reaper side kills him despite the defensive swap, but the Chain Frost is doing some work. They get the kill on the Necrophos with the Shadow Ray is doing some work as well. Blank on a mega kill streak continues the chase. There'll be an Ice Path thrown towards his backside, but it's a double kill for Blank. Shadow Fiend is working wonders with that delayed Dragon Lance. 3 down on the side of Genesis. Glory 5 doing some serious damage here.
Still not too much of a network difference between the two sides. I'm hoping Genesis are keeping track of Roshan and probably try and get the ages up and going on the Ursa. And maybe with that advantage they can try and get something done across the map.
Yeah, I mean, after all, it is a blink first Ursa, so the Rosh takedown potential isn't that huge.
Yeah, he's actually skipping the Vlads and going into a diffuser.
I mean, just a casual mask would have been nice as well. Ollie.
Yeah.
He's trying to dodge the stun from the magic missile, but little did he know that there was no magic missile. Now Ollie's been dusted up once again. His dust is going to wear off, but they replenish it. They get the kill. 4 heroes moving towards one lone Wiki, actually 5 heroes moving towards him as they get that kill and move towards Rosh themselves.
Yeah, it's surprising that Glorifier are the side that's grouping up and having a better start here. I mean, one would assume that's something you'd try to hope from Genesis, or at least find pickups on the back of this Ricky. Ricky did have a...
Ursa's been spotted. He's actually going into the pit himself. Oh, what? He thought he was going to take Rosh, but little did he know there was a surprise package waiting for him there. Blank is wicked sick now with that double damage rune upon himself. They're gonna go for Rosh themselves. Ricky, cheeky Ricky, he's in there looking for that snatch. Is he gonna get it here? They haven't dusted just yet. Rosh is down. The Aegis is snatched! Ollie got it! Oh man, this is just silly stuff coming out from both sides.
Yeah, it's really silly. I mean, Glorify, they've been so on top of the vision game, but they move into the Rosh pit without a sentry and they get punished for it. This shouldn't be happening. I mean, you give up bounty runes, that can be understood, but you're giving up ages at 16 minutes to Ricky. not really too good. And meanwhile, Ursa finds a pick-off. He gets the Lich, the Ice Armor not providing any protection. The Sunray doing a little bit of work on the Ursa. Ollie goes in with the tricks of the trade, but no real damage being done. They swoop forward towards the Radiant Shrine, but they turn back onto Ollie, and they're going to take away the Aegis from him.
Yep, that was a short-lived Aegis.
But look at this. Here comes the Necrophos. They're moving in aggressively. He's got the Reaper side. They bring down the Phoenix. They're holding on to it until they get the Viper. The call is there. Viper not any mana to work with. And there's the Reaper side. Viper taken out of the picture. Blank with the Requiem. Trying to do a little bit of damage. But he's not in the Ice Path. And the Macro Fire. He's going down. They're running him down with the Ghost Shroud. They slowed him. And the Earth Shock will ensure that the Ursa gets the wicked 6 streak. And just like that, Genesis are back in the game.
Yeah, looks like that last lone survivor, that is the Venge, is probably going to go down as well. They have the Blink and the Stomp. They're going to get the hits off. And of all people, it's going to be the Jakiro that gets that kill. 5-man wipe in favor of Genesis. All they lose is an Aegis on a Riki, which is absolutely inconsequential. And an Aegis steal just proving to be the death of them.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied.
At the very least, they're going to get an eye on the tier 2 tower, but that's a consolation prize at this point. Genesis have just bounced right back into this game. The net worth graphs are just going up and down all over the place. But I think it's safe to say that Genesis have found their stride. With that, the Ursa is now changing gears and going towards an Aghanim Scepter over and above that Diffuser Blade, which he's now flying out to himself. And let's have a look at the Necrophos. He's got himself a Veil and he's getting an Atos. So for all the lack of lockdown that they have on the side of Glory 5, Genesis is just overcompensating for it.
Not mistaken, you still can't shrug off the Viper Strike, so that's the only control that Glorify have on the Ursa once he picks up his Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah. But I mean, I still don't think it's such a big deal, man. I mean, the only thing that he's interested in shrugging off is the magic missile right now.
Yeah.
If he's stunned, he shrugs it off, runs straight at them once again. There's absolutely no way to control this Ursa anymore. And a BKB doesn't make any sense either. Jump in, they got the Stomp. The Phoenix is going to get swapped out to safety. Tricks with the trade, pop, and he's back into the smoke screen with that dive as he's down. Chain Frost is there. It will do some damage, but Enrage will soak it up. Ollie getting hit. 2 raises to his back along with the Requiem slow. He gets taken apart. But it's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Genesis. And they're going back in for more.
He's TP'd onto the shrine. He's got a Force Staff as well as a Blink. He popped the smoke just for himself. They want to go back in. Necrophos coming in from the northwest. Glorify going to get Pincer Trap. The call is there. It's on the Viper. Battle Hunger as well. Ice Path on top of 2 dual breath. Veil of Discord being thrown on top. Macropire not doing enough. But here comes the Necrophos with the Reaper side. With the Atos. Takes the Viper out of the equation. While Blank gets the kill on the Twin-Headed Dragon. He's going to get punished as well. Axe is there. They bring down the Shadow Fiend. 2 goes down. Phoenix trying his best. But Ursa bands up. Pops the Enrage. Turns around. Brings the egg back down to the ground. And now Necrophos is chasing for more. Atos onto the Lich. The Ghost Shroud slowing down the bench. Battle Hunger as well. The Death Pulse might just bring down the Lich, but he's got a Shrine. While the Vengeful Spirit won't be that lucky.
That Shrine though, that's the only thing that kept him alive there. He was definitely going to die to the Necrophos otherwise. But yeah, that's still 4 down in favor of a Jakiro on the side of Genesis. Jakiro is fine to die for his allies in that particular fashion. 4k net worth advantage, 2 successful team fights in favor of Genesis. Their lineup is starting to really shine right now. It's kind of what we pinned to the draft anyway, where they've really got a lack of control on the side of the Dire, and come mid-game they're going to get kited and fight it around. Ollie's fine with starting the fights on his terms. He drops down a smoke screen as long as he's zoning out 2 or 3 heroes. He pops the tricks of the trade and delays his own death.
Yeah. I guess Genesis is completely fine with what Ollie's doing in this game, just getting the fight started and going down. And they're not too worried about losing the Riki. Axe though, they did have a sentry. The Sunrays there, they slowed him a bit, but the Force Staff is going to ensure that he does retreat towards the shrine. They're chasing for more. Phoenix
what a
loops in.
senseless chase.
The Fire Spirits. But Axe, oh, his blink just cooled down and he got the hell out of there. But look at this, Necrophos surrounded by 4, make that 5 heroes, the Chain Frost bouncing, it's beautiful. They brought down the Necrophos, they load the Requiem. The User still alive, wants to bring down the Venge and will indeed. Axe jumps in with the call onto the Phoenix. Elsewhere, Usa being bought down in the trees. The dunk ensures that the Phoenix will go down. A wicked 6 streak taken away from the Usa, and now it's Genesis on the retreat. They still do have the dust up on Ollie. They're chasing him into the trees. He turns around, drops the smoke screen. and they've lost sight of him.
That was just senseless on so many levels. It was senseless enough for Glory5 to chase up the hill with no vision like that. And it was even more senseless that Genesis didn't respond in time. That was their fight to take. They hesitated for a moment and then they came in too late. The Necroforce got swapped out and the fight started with the Necroforce down. No Reaper side committed in that battle. And soon after the Ursa ended up falling as well.
And Necroforce horribly out of position. The Chain Frost connecting onto, and without the Reaper sight, they are getting punished a fair bit in these fights. I really don't know how Genesis was so badly out of position, especially the Necroforce, who was pretty much surrounded by 4 or 5 heroes. And yeah, Genesis were working with a 4 to 5k net worth advantage, and now it's swung back down to just a 2k net worth deficit between both sides.
Yeah, but the positioning deficits are going to change now. Necroforce has picked up his Blink Dagger, and that essentially means that he can jump into the fight only when he chooses to, after the axe is initiated, after the Ricky has provided vision. No gem picked up on the battlefield just yet. Glory5 are just relying on good old sentry wards courtesy the Lich and Dust courtesy Revenge. As they'll now pop a smoke and trying to make something happen, but their smoke is broken. Or was it the Viper that was never on the cover of it?
Viper wasn't in the smoke. And there is a Radiant Observer, seeing a little bit of this. Seer now probably walks into that Radiant Observer.
Jump in axe. That was strange. I figured the axe would have been the one jumping in there. He had like a good 2 or 3 man call. He even had the blade mail to work with. Strange that they didn't commit to that fight. But yeah, that means that the smoke gank, while it was a failure, wasn't an entire disaster for them. They might just get a swap initiation, but now they'll jump in with the smoke screen. There's going to be no chain frost for this fight. Necroforce is just ramming it into the Shadow Fiend, who's going to try and force stuff himself away, but the Reaper side will secure the kill. Necro's regen is now kicked in, and you really can't bring him down that easily. The smoke screen, the call. They're controlling up Roth 4000 now, as Necro doesn't quite get the kill. It's Ollie with the triple. The Atos is there, the Ghost Shroud as well. But do the two of them have enough to bring down this tanky Viper with a Solar Crest on himself? They're just gonna turn tail and run, leaving 2 survivors while letting the Viper survive himself. That was, again, a really messy team fight coming out from both sides, but it does seem that Genesis walks away with a slight advantage.
I mean, in terms of gold exchange and EXP exchange, this is slightly favorable trade for Genesis, but not enough. Necroforce, though, he didn't end up falling, and that's going to bring him closer and closer to his next item. It seems to be a Radiance.
I mean, I guess the evasion's nice, but at the same time, yeah, the longer he stays on the battlefield, the more damage he's going to end up dishing out. But the corrosive phase is going to work against him in that department as well. I guess you probably switch that up. Maybe get yourself an Aghanims this game. Even a Lincoln's wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, Lincoln's wouldn't be terrible. The Aghanims would also be nice. I mean, there was that small nerf to cooldown in 7.06F to Reaper side cooldown. But yeah, Ricky's got a diffusal. So if he pretty much sees the Lich or the Vengeful Spirit by themselves, he could pretty easily secure a kill on either one of them. But Glory5, they're just 5 manning, not giving this Ricky Maru any easy pickups. A lot of vision coming out from Genesis in this top lane, though. And it seems to be the next target for them. This tier 2 in the top lane, while Jaquito on the bottom lane is trying to keep the wave pushed. No tier 2 stands over there. Roshan not up just yet, which is probably going to be a huge point of contest between these 2 sides when he does come up. It will be Roshan number 2 with Cheese, and Usa would really like that.
The axe has actually been scouted by an Observer Warrior, so this is not the best position for him to be in. It's just 4 protect 1. The one that's being protected is a Viper who's farming with a Maelstrom, so he's overcome his natural weakness of his inability to farm by picking up a Maelstrom now. Got the Phoenix diving forward, trying to initiate this fight, knowing that they have a bit of a numbers advantage, but they've got the low ground now, while Ursa and the Ricky are coming in under cover of the smoke, with the axe close at hand as well. There's some very defensive postures being taken by the entirety of Glory5, but they turn that around. They get the smoke, the swap, the stun was not there, and Necroforce blinks out to safety.
What stun that is? Oh,
The bench.
I mean, too much pressure on that bench.
And Ricky does it again.
Has been killed.
Snipes a career. You gotta feel so constricted if you're Glory 5 now. This offensive maneuvers coming out from all around you. There's creeps following you through as well. The smoke is now dead obvious. As they should even have vision of wooing here, courtesy this Radiant Observer ward on the cliff. But he is under cover of the smoke for now, so if anything they should see like a stray sentry ward being planted on the floor there.
Yeah, this is the problem with the glorified draft. They pop a smoke and then they're just desperately hoping to start a fight. The swap is only level 1 and there's too much pressure on the bench to get off a good initiation. You don't want to swap in the axe. And if you swap in the Usa and you group up around him, then the axe can follow through. So glorify the weakness in the draft being revealed. And it's not like, I mean, sometimes you give up stuns in your draft. If your draft works in really well in another direction, I still don't see what this draft excels at. I can see that Shadow Fiend is good at bringing down towers, but that's pretty much it. They've got physical damage to some extent.
Yeah, they've got the damage, they've got some tankiness as well. Perhaps you start the fight with the Viper. You know, send him in front, start with the Viper strike, and then try and take a fight. But yeah, like you said, you've always got to be wary of the axe jumping in and catching a couple of heroes in the call. Because the moment the axe commits, you're going to have the Ursa as well as the Jakiro committing along with him. And that's going to be 2 heroes deleted almost immediately. But that said, you know, if the Viper does manage to survive for a little long, you know, give him like 5 or 6 seconds in a team fight, he will rip them apart with that Maelstrom and that Solar Crest. He'll be able to take down one at the very least by himself, and he can mold and control the Ursa with the Viper Strike. Like you pointed out, the Enrage does not dispel the Viper Strike.
Yeah, he's still not got the axe though. He's missing just one component. So if Genesis do end up winning this fight, it could be Axe for Ursa. It could also be Roshan, who's going to respawn in 9 seconds. So this could be a crucial fight for Genesis. I mean, if the respawn timers are in their favor, they could at least take a tier 3 or 4 buybacks as well if they do end up winning this fight. Viper's got buyback, Shadow Fiend's got buyback, so that's good news for Glorify. But yeah, everybody's congregating near the top tier 2.
I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen here. Because every time we predict Genesis having the upper hand, it seems like it's almost as if they hear us and decide to intentionally throw. So there's always the chance that Glorify are going to come out on top with just sheer slows and tankiness.
Yeah. Viper's got a DD as well. So if he's not caught in the call, it could be hard for Genesis to come out on top in this fight. They pop the smoke, Lich is going to walk up to the high ground and he might end up seeing the axe. And if they do successfully delete the axe from the beginning of the fight itself, Genesis do seem rather weak.
Well, for now, we've got a disconnect coming out from the Venge. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. And we'll find out the conclusion to this long and drawn out wait. This is, by the way, the final game of the series. So, the winner does... okay, let's not give away any spoilers. But yeah, the winner is going to be most likely
moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how the Durina LAN is going to play out, especially if one of these two teams makes it there. The last time around, the last Durina event was the final showdown between two of India's premier teams, Beyond Infinity and Invisible Wings. That was arguably the best event of 2016. And really,
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see how 2017 is going to be, because we were promised some really cool things the last time around. It's going to be nice to have an international element.
We're going to have Entity with boys from all over the world. One of these two squads. Do we have Council playing this time around? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at the brackets myself, but I'm gonna miss these chat wheels. I think The
I
last state
think
is
they
like,
might stay.
there's been a lot of people rallying to have it stay, so maybe Valve will listen.
Mm-hmm.
But then how will they make money the next time?
True that.
Well,
Well,
I
it's
think we're
good to
getting to
know.
the point where we start revealing Game of Thrones spoilers until he reconnects. What say, Vivek? I heard you haven't watched the episode.
I mean, does it still count? Because where is this game going to be streamed? I mean, when does everybody get to watch this? Right now? Should we start revealing them right now?
No,
I
I think let's
I
be
don't think
nice.
we should
Let's
do
be
that.
nice. Let's not.
Let's be nice. Yeah. I mean, you did ask a rather significant question to me that the wall protects the south from the White Walkers just through
So
magic, and
yeah,
how
some earlier on in the season. Okay, so no spoilers here. Just theory crafting. Earlier on,
theoretic
apparently,
crafting.
Benjamin Stark mentioned that. I think that was last season actually, where Benjamin Stark mentioned he couldn't get through the wall because of the magic that protects it, and because Uncle
But
Benjen is
isn't
now.
Benjen Stark beyond the wall because he's a ranger?
No,
I mean,
so he went beyond the wall because he was the ranger, and he was gonna be turned into a white. When I say white, I mean a WIGHT, an undead foot soldier. But
Yeah.
before that could happen, a piece of dragon glass was shoved into him. Was it a white or white walker? I can't quite remember. But he was going to be turned into an undead soldier nonetheless. And one of the
how do you know he was going to be turned into an undead soldier? Does he
That's-
get captured?
he got captured, and I mean that's what he told Bran, that one of the leaf people shoved a piece of dragon glass into his heart, which is what stopped the turning, and now that's why he's sort of an undead that still has I don't know, his consciousness in him.
Right, but he comes to help John, right? In episode
Yeah,
in episode 6.
he does come to help John before he dies, but earlier on in the season when he was talking to Bran, when he actually rescues Bran, he mentions that he can't go with Bran, he can't go beyond the wall with Bran because there's strong magic that keeps the undead out.
Right.
So if the wall isn't broken, how on earth are the what do you call it? The negotiation party with Daenerys and Jon, etc., going to take a white or an undead foot soldier into King's Landing to show Cersei? Like, what's the plan there? How is that even possible? Because the wall still stands.
So, I mean, I don't know the answer to that because I haven't watched the episode, but from what I've been told is that there's a dragon asleep in the wall, inside the wall, and there's a fourth dragon, and the magic from the dragon is what keeps the White Walkers out.
I mean,
This is
there's a lot of theories floating around, though. This is just one of them.
Anyway.
And this is just a question that I had in my mind before watching the episode as well. So, just putting it out there.
Did you get an answer to it after watching the episode?
I don't want to say anything. That'll give away some spoilers.
I mean, you can tell me if you got an answer. You're still not saying anything.
It'll still.
Did you
be
get
a-
an answer?
That'll still be
Or
a
is it-
spoiler. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if I go on Google, some smart aleck has probably put out the solution to it.
Yeah. So you know what's really strange? I mean, Game of Thrones is so heavily leaked and we don't even know about it. Because when I was watching episode 5 or episode 4, the entire plot points for episode 5, 6 and 7 were already leaked. And like an idiot, I watched them all. So I
You're
sort
a
of know what...
moron. You did it to yourself, man. You kind of spoiled it for yourself. But
I
let's hold
was
that
rather
thought.
curious.
We've got a game of Dota back now, so Game of Thrones will have to wait. Ollie, gonna use the tricks of the trade to shave off some of the time. He can purge up the thruster if he wants to, but instead blinks right back in, drops a smoke screen, buys time. For what though? His teammates just busy taking a tower. Now the onslaught is coming and it's without a Ricky to defend. TP scroll gonna be popped here. Change name, change luck. Does get the hell out of there. Well, baby, he's gonna swap in the Necrophos, and like we called it, man, Genesis are bungling this up. It's a DD Viper giving chase. There will be a blink away from Necrophos, but it's still one down on the side of Genesis as Glory 5. They'll be okay with that, losing a tower but getting a kill on the Riki.
And Usa pops the shrine, has the axe coming out to him. Roshan is up. What's vision like around the rush pit? Lich has a couple of observers. So he's gonna get that planted. Mid lane though, Atos coming out from the Necroforce. Not sure if he has enough damage. Just blinks out of there defensively.
He's just playing with his food. Smoke
Both sides
just completely randomly popped out here, as Necrophos wasn't happy about that. He just comes in and reveals himself immediately. They are prepping for a rush battle, however. Orisa's already in the pit, and Glory 5 are prepping for this. They can fight. They do have the Phoenix Supernova at the ready. They've got Viper prepped and ready to jump in. They end up losing their middle tier 2 tower, which should be a dead giveaway that they're heading towards the pit. But Rosh is dropping, and he's dropping fast. Gotta get in there right now.
Hilarious. Necroforce just ditches the entire battle. He's just running east.
Gotta be
and in
good.
the... Whoa, but the call along with the ice pot and the macro by Usa manages to get the Aegis. The X being committed. Chin first onto the axe. Not enough. Requiem unloaded. Usa still has the enrage. He's staying alive. All he ends up falling. The Sunray burning down the Usa. That's Aegis taken away. He's still got cheese, but he's surrounded in the pit without a Ricky, without an axe, and he just blinks the hell out of there.
Meanwhile, Necrophos trying to be a rat. I have no idea what kind of decision making this is coming out from Genesis. This is not the Genesis that we've seen at the ESL India Premiership. They're playing a whole different style of Dota here in the Dew Arena finale.
These SEA teams are so unpredictable. So unpredictable. It's actually worrisome for us as analysts because we never know what they're going to do next. But yeah, Necro gets a kill. If he was at the rush pit, I'm pretty sure Genesis would have won that fight convincingly and they could have gone high ground. But Necro's priority was getting the Radiance up and going, so he's got that. But unfortunately, Genesis do not have the Aegis to work with. They do have the cheese, however. The question is, are they just going to start grouping up as 5 now?
That's a very complicated question at this point because there's not much information we have about what they're planning to do next. Their minds are just like a Rubik's Cube puzzle that's unsolvable right now. He's running around with 8 charges on the diffusal blade. Still surprising that he didn't even bother purging off the dust the last time around. I'm not actually sure if you can still purge off dust.
No, you can't. You can't. Okay, you can't purge off dust anymore.
You could. So okay, I guess that's a change that I missed out on.
No, they changed that. Like you can't purge off repel. You can't purge off dust. But top lane, you can definitely ADOS the bench, and they're gonna get the kill. The dunk is there.
He may not have the Reaper sight at the ready, but that still doesn't mean that he isn't a threat. Now 2 down on the side of Daya means they can do some damage on this tower. There's the jump into the Ursa, starts laying his claws right into the Viper, but the Viper's controlling the Ursa, who's only got a cheese and no Aegis to work with. He'll enrage himself up, get forced off the way. There's a Phoenix with the Supernova behind. The cheese gets consumed. The Ice Pot is well placed and will stop a few in their tracks, but they will end up giving up the life of the Jakiro in the fray. Now Necro first swapped in, still no Reaper sight available, but he's dropped the veil and he's doing some damage. First, but Ursa jumps into the fray as well, as it's a double kill coming out for him. The only survivors now, the Ursa versus the Lich and the Shadow Fiend. He's just gonna TP and try and get the hell out of there. Genesis on the losing end of that fight.
Yeah, they took away the huge streak from the Viper, but they ended up losing more, and they've also consumed the cheese. So Glory 5 do hold on to the high ground successfully there.
Seeing an MKB being attempted here by the Ursa. He wants to have that true strike versus the Solar Crest on that Viper. Meanwhile, Shadow Fiend, no sign of what he's going next. He's got himself a Mantis style, which isn't terrible. He's also got himself that Hurricane Pike for the mobility. In fact, now he's moving towards bottom where he wants to try and get a solo kill here on change name, change luck, but that would have been suicidal. Fortunately for him, he's got a haste rune. They can purge that off.
I think you consider something like the diffusal at this point on the Shadow Fiend. Or just a damage item of some sorts. You could also just tank up and go for something like a Skari. A lot of options.
No buyback on the Ursa, by the way. He's actually spent his money on the Demon Edge. And he's got a second Refusal Blade sitting in his stash as well. 32 minutes in, the score 35 to 29. Still no clear victor. The last skirmish won by the Dire, and I honestly don't even know how they're doing it with just one lockdown.
I mean, the thing that ended up working for them in the previous engagement was Axe went in the call onto the Viper, and pretty much the Ursa clumped up along with the Axe, and then you had a good chain frost to follow it up.
Broken smokes, 4 stops. The ice part coming out as well. It's got 2. There's the Macropire to follow it up. It's a choke point here. Where is the Axe? The Axe jumps in, gets the call on 2. He'll get the dunk on 1. The dunk on the second does not connect quite efficiently, and Baby will survive. It's a 1-for-1 trade thus far, and the Ursa is thinking about going right back in. Has the choice, decides to commit, goes upon the Viper, but the chain frost brings him down, brings down the Axe. And the control is there. Top, meanwhile, the Rat continues. The Necrophos does get a tier 3 before moving away from that fight, while Ricky, he's still waiting on the periphery, looking to make something happen. Even the Ursa ends up surviving. Another lot of Atos coming out. They do have a Reaper side actually if they want to commit to this.
They've also retrieved the gem. So, huge win for Genesis in that skirmish. And now they finally have a net worth advantage that is worth noting. And they're sitting at a 9k net worth advantage. They've got the gem back on the Ricky. And not having Necrophos participating in team fights seems to be working out for them.
I think there was a fight for the Necrophos to be in though. There was a...
I agree.
They had vision of that clumped up set of heroes. They axed a little late on his commitment there. Not sure if he was out of position or what, but perhaps with the Necrophos in the fray as well, they would have deleted a hero at the start of the fight and been in a better position.
I mean, I'm really hoping seriously, all it takes for Genesis is one fight where the Necrophos ends up participating. They should ideally end up winning that fight, and they should end up beating a lane of racks on the back of it. And I think Qualifier have a sense of this. They need to start grouping up, probably find a pick-off, delay the inevitable push that is coming from Genesis, and buy themselves some time. But time for what is the question? What is Shadow King going to do with all that gold? Viper seems to have queued up a BKB.
I think they need BKBs. The Ricky smoke is still being quite a threat for them. And you've also got to worry about the Jakiro and his Macropire.
Yep.
As time progresses and as he gets closer and closer towards the level 25, it does put them on a clock. It is a dangerous proposition to have that pure damage Macropire that pierces magic immunity.
Yeah, Ursa's got his NKB as well. So all that evasion coming out from the Viper won't do much good. I hope the Shadow Fiends spotted this out and doesn't invest too heavily in invasion as his next core item.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the BKB. It should be the BKB.
On the Shadow Fiend?
Yeah.
But call goes through BKB. The Ice Path and the Macropire is still a nuisance.
I'd say it's the smoke screen more than anything else. There's the Atos, two Atos actually. There's the quick egg coming out of the Phoenix. The Chain Frost is doing some good work, bouncing between 2. The Necro takes the brunt of it, gets swapped in further as well. Has that Ghost Shroud, needs to get the Reaper side kill off on someone to start regenning, but he just goes down without a fight, despite having the opportunity to commit on Baby. There's Ollie now chasing forward onto the Venge. The Venge getting taken out on the side. The Dust was there for good measure as well. They get that kill, but the Axe now in trouble himself with the double kill for CS Viper. But Viper's been taken apart by the Ursa, who's changed targets, enraged up and gone on to Blank, who's been slowed down by both the Stomp as well as the Smoke Screen. But Blank turns around and gets himself a kill on the Ursa as he ends up dropping and buying back. You've also got a buyback coming out from the Necrophos, who's moving back towards the middle lane and looking to end this game, sensing that there's no buyback on the Viper.
It's going to be hard for the Shadow Fiend to hold. I mean, he's got a couple of souls, but the Atos onto Blank, they're chasing up high ground. Lich out of mana, out of blocks, held in place with the Reaper side and brought down as well. It's a killing spree on the Ricky. They're pushing up the mid lane. The Sunray is going to hold them off for a bit. They can just change targets and go top.
Indeed they will. They've still got a Shadow Fiend on the front lines. He's looking to collect his souls before the fight breaks out. However, he doesn't have a buyback. He's still got some money to spend. It might be in his best interest to throw away that bottle and start picking up some items. At this point, you could go for a desperation play and just pick up a Desolator for yourself. But nah, he's got the money for a BKB. Instead, he goes for the Diffusal Blade, which is okay, I guess, versus the Ghost Shroud.
Yeah, I guess it's nice versus the Ricky.
No, Ricky? I think you mean Necrophos.
Sorry, versus the Necrophos. What am I saying? My bad.
And that fight's gonna fizzle out once again. We're gonna have everyone just backing away into their own corners.
Roshan gonna respawn in 2 minutes.
Which should be the next move from them. Gonna get a 4-star finished up on the Jakiro soon enough as well. And Necrophos, he's just getting himself some armor instead of getting magic immunity, which I guess is the right move here.
I'd really like to see Glorify find a pick off on the Necrophos. I mean, he's used this buyback. A kill on him could be huge. Could possibly help you contest Roshan if that's on the minds of Glorify and Genesis. I mean, Necrophos is pretty much just enjoying pushing out this top lane by himself. Yeah, and it looks like Glorify want to punish this. The pop to smoke, they're heading in that direction.
Yeah, what's worrisome is that the Necrophos doesn't have a buyback, so if he dies here, it could be all over. Instead, he's gonna blink out, and Ollie's once again gonna reveal some movements here. As Rot Smoke has been broken. Ursa, again, just moving into the pit, hoping that Roshan has respawned. This is just a game of cat and mouse once again. They smoke, they look for a pick off, they find nothing, they back away immediately. Not going to overcommit while Necrophos is split pushing with his Radiance on the other side of the map.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
He's got no buyback, so it is a sensible move for him to just finish up that Shiva's guard at the earliest.
Mm-hmm.
Ursa going to be applying some pressure on this middle lane, but he gets swapped, blinks out immediately, Glimmer Capes, everything being thrown at him as he enrages and shrugs off the stun. Roshan has respawned though, and they know this. Do they have a smoke on the side of the Dire? Apparently not. It's going to be an Aegis and Cheese going in favor of Genesis, which should be all the tools that they really need to go and end this game.
Yeah, I really don't see how Glorify hold on this time around. They've got the Halberd on the Viper, which is going to be nice to some extent. But just the Diffusal and the Hurricane Pack in the Mount, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough on the Shadow Fiend. They need to take the Necrophos out of the equation as soon as possible though. It's going to be really crucial for them to win the team fight.
Alright then, let's watch for the Axis initiation. All this while the Lich has been throwing some really cool chain frost. Let's see if he can keep that reputation up once again. Because the push is most definitely coming, and this time the Necrophos will be joining them along with the DD Ursa. Control coming out onto that Viper for now. Just a couple of ATOSs being thrown at him. A low cooldown on the ATOS allows them to do these shenanigans while Axe gets prepped and ready to jump in. Damage on the range barracks. Looks like the first barracks will fall here. Meanwhile on the bottom, Ursa is actually going for the tier 3 tower. They've jumped in the middle at the top lane as well. They've got the Reaper side coming out. They will get the kill on the Venge, who's down for 80 seconds while the Supernova was expended preemptively. Bottom, Ursa being chased, has that Aegis, will end up losing it to the Viper while the top barracks are being annihilated here. They get the kill on the Phoenix, who buys back immediately while the Root controls the Shadow Fiend. They've only got a range barracks for now, but the Viper is being held at the bottom lane while the top lane barracks are now being taken apart bit by bit. Viper jumps in, beats up on the Ursa jumps in, beats up on the Viper and takes him down. That's a dieback on the Viper and no respawn for him for 89 seconds, as it will be Glorify that taps out. Genesis are your winners here.
That was odd. I mean, Glorify spent 10 minutes hoping to deal with that Ursa, and Viper was so invested in dealing with the Ursa. While on the other side, you just had Genesis finding quick kills in succession. One on the Venture Spirit with the Reaper side, one on the Phoenix forcing out a buyback. And what followed was a lane of Axe and Glorify. They couldn't handle the split push. The Aegis proving to be the deciding factor in that high ground push for Genesis. Yeah. Anyway, folks, that's it as far as today's broadcast is concerned for the Arena Online qualifiers. Genesis winning game to in a convincing manner. My name is Vivek. With me is CloudX. Any last words, CloudX?
No, just excited to see Genesis at the LAN going up against some of the best that India has to offer as well, and yeah, just can't wait for the main event.
Yeah.
Although I do believe there's going to be one more qualifier at least before, so we'll have another team making it to the main event. So I'm excited for that as well.
Okay.
Anyway, folks, have a great evening. Hope you guys have enjoyed. This is CloudX and Vivek signing off.
We're the champions.